What do we got to look forward to with Batman?
Well, the story we're telling, it's kind of funny because the story we're doing in Batman, I pitched to Mike Martz before there was a relaunch. So it's kind of the Bruce story I would do if I only ever get one chance to ever write Bruce Wayne, who is my favorite character of all time. So I'm really excited about it. And then they liked it, and I switched with Tony to detective. He switched to detective, and I went to Batman. And then they were like, and guess what? It's going to be #1. So then it was a lot of sleepless nights and anxiety, and my wife will attest. I was like, maybe I should just call in sick all year. But at the end of the day, I'm happy it worked that way because the story is something that I was extremely excited about to begin with before there was the kind of whole #1 thing. And that way I can sort of put on my horse blinders and be like, it's the story I would tell no matter what. I'm very happy excited about it, and Greg Capullo is just knocking it out of the park on it. So I feel really confident about it and excited, So we're just eager to get it out there and show it off to people.
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of the fans forget, that it's a big change for them, but it's also a big change for the writers to have that pressure of a new #1. I mean, like you said, you put on blinders, but it's still you know that that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and it's funny because the story itself, I didn't actually have to change it very much. At all. I mean, I think I added a line or two in the first issue, but for the most part, really what I wanted the story to be is about Bruce coming back to Gotham after the events of Batman Inc., feeling like the city is owned by the Bat, more confident than he's ever been, and then really having, little by little, him start to realize that maybe the city being 400 years old is something he doesn't know at all, and that his whole tenure as Batman is just a fraction of the time the city has existed. So maybe it's not the city of the Bat, maybe it belongs to another symbol, and the symbol of the Court of Owls, in this way that we've just started introducing, where we've tried to build the symbol of the owl into the architecture and lace it into actually the detective run a little bit before this, and really give it a feel that it's been there a long time. And there's kind of a nursery rhyme in Gotham about this group, the Court of Owls, and they're watching all the time, and don't speak of them or they'll send the Talon for your head. And that comes up all in issue 2. And the idea is that kids know this nursery rhyme, Bruce knows the nursery rhyme, Commissioner Gordon. It's just part of Gotham legends that there's some group of men that kind of have ruled since colonial times from the shadows with these owl, faces and stuff like that. And Bruce, as the mystery goes on, he really seems resistant to the idea that they could possibly exist, and that's part of the story, is what's his past with him, why. And we wanted to do a story where there are going to be big revelations about the Graysons and about the Waynes, and to really make Gotham scary for Bruce. And for me, Bruce's confidence is the thing we're trying to go after, in the way that for me with Dick Grayson and Detective, it was really about his empathy, his compassion. That was something that to me Gotham was trying to show that's a weakness, but it's not, it's a strength. And here we wanted to do the same thing with Bruce, where it's your confidence, you're being the best, you owning the city, all of that. If you break that, I think that really is terrifying to Bruce, if you make him see that his own city is a stranger to him. So we wanted a villain that really has as many resources as he does, can bring the weight of history to bear against him, and it's almost like the city is kind of turning its eye towards Batman and just hasn't been paying attention to him. And it's kind of like, you know what, now we're going to just crush you and the whole Bat family, and we're going to, along the way, we're going to show you how the destinies of your family and other families like close to you, of Bat allies, were shaped by things we did, and that you have no understanding of who your own friends are, and maybe they're your enemies and everything. So I'm really excited about it. There are going to be some big, revelations. It is going to bleed into some other books like Nightwing, and then later on maybe some other books as well. So yeah, it's just big. It's 11 issues long. It's sort of our hush for Long Halloween, and I'm excited to get it out there.
I'm so happy that you're doing this. This is so amazing. Like, when you ended with Detective, I was so sad because I was like, you did such a great job writing for that Batman that I was nervous that, like, would he be able to, do with Bruce? And you're just knocking it out of the park. It's unbelievable.
Thanks. Bruce is so much fun because he's so different. Like,
yeah.
Dick is almost like the character that we'd be if we got to be in the Cowl, where he's very confessional and open and emotionally accessible, and he's just sort of tells you how he's feeling and all that. And Bruce is almost like an unreliable narrator in that he's so guarded. He tells you the facts, and you have to use other characters like Alfred or Dick, who plays a big part in the story too, to sort of be like, are you sure you're okay, Bruce? And Bruce is sort of like, I'm fine. And then to you, he'll be like, I'm fine. Almost in the narration and the way he just sort of moves on to the next fact. So it's a lot of fun because he's so badass and tough that it's a completely different flavor than writing Dick Grayson. And at the same time, he's very vulnerable when you get past that veneer in some ways, that he has a lot of Achilles heels,
What's it like writing a younger, redheaded Jim Gordon?
It's fun. I love Jim. I could write Jim all day long. Like, Dan DiDio was kidding me because he was like, when I first pitched Detective, I was like, it's really focused on Jim Gordon. Yeah. He's like, Jim Gordon. He's like, what's the cover's going to be? And I was sort of like, it's going to be Jim Gordon with dusty old files and like bifocals.
Just the most boring thing you could possibly think of,
just thumbing through old cases with dust everywhere, dust bunnies. But the truth is, I mean, and Dan was laughing because Dan loves the character too, and he was the biggest supporter of Detective, so, I was really grateful to him for letting me do what I did there. But Jim is Batman's greatest ally. He's also a really complicated character and an interesting reflection of Batman to me in the way that he is a lonely warrior in Gotham, and the same way that's what Year One is all about to me, is both of them realizing the loneliness of the path they're about to take, knowing that it's them and the city, them against the city, and they have no allies except each other in some ways. Bruce has developed allies over the years, but I still think that at the end of the day, it's Bruce versus the city, and Jim versus the city, and the other characters are there helping them in some way, and that they have a connection that goes beyond anything any other character has with him on that level. I mean, Alfred knows him better than anyone, and all that stuff, but Jim is his is another knight in Gotham that way, to me. So I love using him every time and he gets the best lines. He gets
he does.
funny. He's really funny.